Obviously, War Games right around the corner, but before I get into all of that, I wanted to talk about Pat Patterson. I don't know that there's anybody maybe outside of Vince that has had a bigger influence on WWE, that has had a bigger influence on the industry as a whole. Anybody that's ever probably stepped through those ropes in this or the last few generations has been influenced, whether directly, indirectly, whether they know it or not, by Pat Patterson. I don't know that I've ever run across a greater mind for the business in general, that whether that be, in ring, as a performer, a finish guy, just an overall creative component of it, to state that everybody in these generations has been affected by it. It is the truth, and I think whether they know it or not, he has affected all those careers. Pat was just such a force at it, so positive, so wonderful to be around. His contributions, but also his energy and his excitement and his fun, his love of the business. Sean and I were sharing some stories yesterday, and Pat used to love to come to takeovers, and it would be when the takeover would finish, everybody would be a gorilla, and then they would move out, and I'd always be up there until the last kind of person left, and Pat would always be like one of the last ones to leave, and he would always call me over and tears in his eyes, crying. Pat was so emotional about the business and his passion for it, and God damn it, I love what we do, and his passion for it was infectious, and I can't say that enough. And it was a tough day yesterday, tough day for everybody, and hard to get through. And I think even talent, as you saw in our opening segment, even our talent that weren't, maybe have never met Pat, I still think felt his influence, and they felt how much it meant to everybody else. So he will be greatly missed, and there'll never be another one like him, that's for sure. So with that, I thought it was quite fitting yesterday that in the afternoon, I'm just getting into some stories here before we get into the actual call, but in the afternoon, in the Capitol Center, which, just going back to Vince's dad and the Capitol Center and the start of all of WWE, and then just in the middle of the afternoon, we took a 15-minute camera break, and we put up the alley fight between Pat Patterson and Sergeant Slaughter, and it was like being at a live event. The talent and the producers and just everybody, the techs and the entire crew and stuff sat around and watched that on all the screens, and were yelling and screaming and cheering like it was a live event. It was amazing and very fitting, and an unbelievable tribute. And I couldn't help but think about Pat, watching all those young people, watching him go, how proud he would have been. He would have had a tear in his eye. And the people going banana. That would have been, I had them all. They were going nuts. So it would have been great. But that being said, I thought this build to War Games has been, my opinion, has been great. I think War Games is very impactful. I wish I had William Regal here to say it right now, so before we started this, but I will just, obviously everybody knows the card, I can go through it, but they know the card, so let's just get down to questions on War Games.
Hey, everybody, we'll keep it to one question per outlet. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'd like to ask a question at this time, please signal us by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Once again, star 1 to ask a question. Pause a brief moment. Take our first question from Mike Johnson with PW Insider.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. My condolences to the company and to the family on the passing of Pat. I know you talked about him a little bit. I did want to ask you, I know he had been, as you mentioned, at takeovers. I know at tapings that I had been to, he had been there as well. I was curious what sort of lessons you learned from him when it came to grooming other talents and helping them evolve, given that that was kind of his role for the main roster for so many years. And, what lessons you learned from him that you brought over to the NXT brand as you evolved it?
All of them. It's funny. We were talking about it yesterday. When I came to WWE and Pat was here, it's so much of what I learned every day. Vince was different, and sitting under the learning tree with Vince is different. It's production and larger overall stuff and vision and different things. Pat was that in-ring, the day-to-day, the finishes and things like that. That's where he's unbelievable. Thinking outside of the box, too. But, there's so many things that I either learn directly from Pat himself, or, I'd be in a car with Sean and Razor and Kevin the Kid or whatever, but Sean and Razor especially, they were there before, and, they'd be talking about stuff and telling you something and go, I learned that from Pat. I remember I was doing this with this guy, and we were in this location, and Pat came to us and he said, guys, please do this. Just trust me on this. And, the things that he could teach you, and he spoke that same kind of wrestler shorthand language that we all spoke with each other. So, when you were in there with him and talking things over, it was just remarkable. But, to say what exact lessons, it's hard because it was a day-to-day thing. It was every single day that you were around him, you were learning things, whether it was just a story or something. But it was constant. His teaching was constant. But how he taught it to you, how he handled you as a performer, the way he saw you, he also had experienced it firsthand, right? So for him as a performer coming into a new territory or whatever, how he dealt with that, how the fears that he had, the thoughts that he had of being a performer and how that resonated with him. So he could speak to you directly that way. I never wanted to lose that, and to have that, sort of hands-on with talent in that manner. I've been very lucky in my career to be able to be around some of the greatest minds ever in this business and be able to sit with them and learn from them at all times. And I think that still continues to this day. But, the Pat, chief among them, Pat, Vince, Dusty, but Pat, chief among them, I don't know if there's anybody I learned more from than him.
All right. I appreciate the time. Wish you and the family nothing but the best. And, again, my condolences. I hope you have a good show on Sunday.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the holidays.
Thank you.
And we'll move next to the next person in the queue, Christian Bruns with Power Wrestling.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, Paul. How are you today? Hey. So, Pat McAfee really opened up a lot of people's eyes with his match against Adam Cole in August, and overnight it became like a natural in doing pro wrestling. Was it more like planned as a one-off in a way, or was it like wanted to continue now because it was too good to not to continue with Pat McAfee? And also, he has now a nice stable surrounding himself with Oney Locke and Danny Burch, Pete Dunne. Do you envision the group staying together after Sunday's show, and those guys complement each other very well and have a really good thing going now?
I absolutely think they have a good thing going, and I think that is, to continue onward for sure. I think, there's something really special happening there. As far as Pat goes, Pat's a unique character in that his desire to be a WWE superstar. It's funny that people sometimes criticize people or performers or whatever they are as outsiders. Oh, there's football players coming in. But the football player's a job he ended up in. The truth is, he has been a WWE fan his whole life and wanted to do nothing more than with his life than to be a WWE superstar. And, he was a great athlete that was also a natural performer and got the opportunity to make a lot of money in the NFL and took it and ran with it and left the NFL because he wanted to take an opportunity to do something more and hopefully it would land him in a position to be in the WWE. You know, I had no idea of a lot of those things when I first met Pat, but they're the truth. And he's so passionate about what we do, and I think it's why he's good at it, and I think it's why he, you know, proved it in that match. His passion shines through on this. As far as him opening eyes, he's a gifted athlete. He gets it. Been a fan his whole life, and is absolutely dedicated to doing this. So it's phenomenal to see him do, and he has a lot of other opportunities and a lot of things happening in his life, and you know, he'll be the first guy to tell you about them. But that's part of the beauty of it. He loves it, and I love working with people like that. He's so passionate about it, and after he performs, he comes back, and you can just see the buzz on him. He's got the bug, and he loves it, and it's great to see. And as far as his performance goes, if you've ever met Pat and listened to him talk for 5 minutes from a heat-seeking quotient, he's there. He is the proverbial heat-seeking missile, just him. So, you know, he can go out there and just transfer that and put it on TV in a way that very few people ever can. But it's not a shtick, it's not an act, it's not an anything. He's just being Pat. He's got the gift of gab. He loves to perform. He loves to irritate. He loves to mess with people, and it comes through in a glowing way that, you know, when you think about it, he's been doing this for a very, very, very short period of time, and he's getting a lot of direction, but yet to be in a position where he's better at it than a lot of people that did it their whole lives. I mean, that's a testament to him. But I'm very proud of him, very excited to be working with him, and look forward to big stuff.
Sounds good. Really looking forward to Sunday's show, so thank you very much today.
Thank you.
We'll move next to Jim Barcelone with Miami Herald.
Thank you. This will be a nice doubleheader Sunday with tribute to the troops and then NXT TakeOver War Games. Looking forward to both. I'm curious, 2020 was so challenging, and everyone there has done such a phenomenal job just continuing the efforts. I'm wondering what you're looking at for 2021, and are we far off from having live house shows again with fans?
Boy, if I could answer that question with any accuracy, it'd be phenomenal, right? Like, for everybody. I hope. You know, look, if people say, what's the one thing I hope happens soon in 21? Man, just, even if I just looked at it selfishly, just getting back to what we do. Packed arenas, packed houses, live crowds. They are the WWE. All those fans and those people and their voices and their passion and their passion for what we do on all levels. And man, it's barren without them. Everybody is doing the best they can, but man, to get them back, there will be nothing like it. And I cannot tell you how much, from top to bottom, from staff to crew to talent to everything in between. Man, we miss having everybody there in person and going crazy, and we can't wait to celebrate with all of you again. And I look forward to that first one that we can go full tilt on, because it's going to be crazy.
Thank you.